Hello, everyone. And looks like we have some people coming in, but I wanted to welcome everyone today to Rectangle Health's webinar with Laura Nelson, Goal Setting and Preparation for 2026. My name is Derek Torbeck, and I'm with the webinar team here at Rectangle Health, and we couldn't be more excited to present this webinar for you today. And a big shout out to Laura for presenting and sharing your knowledge with this group. We are so excited. Before we jump into, of course, the main event, I just wanted to give a little background for anyone who is new to Rectangle Health and don't know too much about us. So we simplify HIPAA and OSHA compliance. We do patient reminders, patient engagement, and patient payments for over 36,000 dental and medical practices through our practice management bridge solution. With that being said, before I introduce Laura to you all, if you don't know her already, I'll walk through a little bit of housekeeping. So regarding our CE credit for this event, that will be sent 2 to 3 weeks after the event. You'll be receiving an email. You'll also be receiving follow-up correspondence that will have, the copy of the presentation slides and also a recording. So you'll definitely be receiving that through email as well. If you have absolutely any questions at all during the presentation, please utilize the Q&A functionality. Time permitting, we hope to get to some, if not all, of the questions. We'll see where we are at. There'll The most important thing here also is when you exit today, there's going to be a survey that pops up. Very important. We really appreciate your feedback. So please take our survey, give us feedback. There's a question on what webinars would excite you for the future, and a couple of other questions on there. So we really appreciate it. It'll only take like a minute or two. And we'll also have some polls during this presentation. So please participate if you can in that to help, just facilitate the presentation and keep us moving along and excited. With that being said, it's now my great pleasure to introduce Laura Nelson, who's the Vice President of AI Learning and Development at Mango Voice. Laura is the founder of Front Office Rocks, which is a training platform that's helped thousands of dental teams master the business side of dentistry. As I said, she's the Vice President also of AI Learning and Development at Mango Voice, and she bridges real-world dental workflows with smart technology. Laura is known for her straight talk approach and deep industry insight. Laura helps teams embrace change, strengthen systems, and make technology work for them, not against them. So with that being said, Laura, I will hand it off to you. Again, everyone, polling and questions at the end. Thank you, Laura.
Awesome. Thank you. And welcome to the Rectangle webinar series. We're so excited that Derek's here. We're excited that you're here. I love doing these with you guys. So I'm so excited to see so many people here. I wish I could see your faces and we can interact, but I will do my best to go through this and leave time at the end for questions. And it is just, I don't know, I'm pinching myself, I guess I should say, about this topic. And the fact that my title screen has preparation for 2026, because I got into dentistry 20 plus years ago. I have been, I learned from the people before me. I've been teaching teams for the last 15, 20 years. And now I just did a couple of podcasts or interviews this morning, videos for Mango Voice. And we're talking about these subjects that I've brought to you guys here at Rectangle. But now we're talking about AI and how AI is going to play a part in every aspect of our dental practice, which I'm going to talk about this at the end. So it's really kind of cool for me to be able to talk about the foundational things such as setting goals. I talk about this every year. It's the end of the year. For some reason, we always look to January as like, it's going to be a fresh new start. What do we do? We have the opportunity to do that every day, but we just like to do it January 1st. But then I'm also excited to be able to talk about how there's a lot of technology that can help us going forward. So this is an exciting one. A little bit more exciting. Derek and I were just talking about the pandemic. It's probably a little bit more exciting than, setting goals for January 2021. I'm glad we're talking about 2026. So let's just jump in. Again, if you don't know who I am, Derek just introduced me, but I'm the founder. Basically, where I got my legs here in dental is I'm the founder of Front Office Rocks. And what that is an online training platform for doctors and teams to talk about everything dental office operations. So, from your very first day in the dental office, if you don't know the dental words we use, to how to answer the phones, how to schedule, how to do handoffs, morning huddles, everything is on Front Office Rocks. Basically, I opened my doors and said, here's a bunch of training videos to help you and your team, which gave me the opportunity to start speaking and going around the I'd say the world, but the country and Canada and the Bahamas. I'm going to Jamaica in January. If you want a fun CE trip, come follow me to Jamaica. I'm speaking there in January. And get to do a lot of events like this with Rectangle. So super excited about that. And my latest thing is in July this year, I went on, I've taken the role of VP of AI at Mango Voice. If you don't know Mango Voice, it's a voice over IP phone company. They're huge in our industry, very focused on dental, amazing customer service. And they have added an AI. They started AI notes, which is basically every time you hang up on a phone call, the phone gets automatically transcribed and put into your PMS, which is really cool. And then they started with an AI receptionist. And that's where I've come on because I believe that there are AI tools out there that are going to be able to help us in the practice, but we need the AI tools to know the dental operations. How is it going to help us in our day to day? And a shiny new AI tool isn't necessarily going to help us if it doesn't know how we need it to operate in the practice. So I've come on with Mango to help build the AI side of operations for our dental offices. So let's jump into goal setting. And before we can get into goal setting, we have to talk a little bit about why do we set goals, right? Like goals, there's a reason for goals. Goals are things that we're not already achieving. Goals are things that we want to change. Goals are how we push ourselves, others, our team to do something better, differently, to change habits. Like, think of the goals you've set in your life personally and professionally, right? First of the year, a lot of times people are doing dry January. I'm going to try not to drink in the month of January, or I'm going to lose 10 pounds after the holidays. I'm going to go to the gym, personal goals. Or we're going to finally, implement this new piece of technology in the dental office, or we're going to try to double the size of the practice this year, or whatever it is. It is, it is the change of the status quo. It is doing something differently. So, the one thing I can say about goals and change is that they're interchangeable. That if you have goals, it's pushing you to change, and change will help motivate the goals, but change isn't always good, right? Many times, the reason we have these goals is because we don't, as humans, we don't like change. As humans, our subconscious likes things to do the same thing over and over again. I just heard a statistic that 75% of the things we do throughout the day is based off habit. Like we get up the same way, we brush our teeth the same way, we drive to work the same way, we put our coffee in the same spot on our desk. Like it's habit because that's how our body operates. That's how our brain operates. And so when we start thinking about goals, and the reason that I do this topic every year, and it's always a hot topic at this time of year, is because we're trying to get people to change. And there's nothing permanent except for change. So when we look at change in our life, a lot of us would like probably say, "Oh, I wish things didn't change so much." But if we actually acknowledge the fact that changes, if we don't want things to stay the same, if your practice ran the same way it did 10 years ago, it would be awful, right? Think of all of the great things that have changed in your practice, hopefully. Think of all the great things in your life that have changed, hopefully. Change is inevitable. So, the first thing in order to start setting goals or realizing why our teams maybe aren't doing change, why they're not reaching the goals, is because not everybody looks at change as positively. And so the first thing is to become aware of how do we feel about change? And this could be about specific changes, like one thing in your practice, some of your team members may be for, and something else they may be against. May have one employee who's all for change, except for on this one thing. It may be you if you look in the mirror, right? If you are honest with yourself, if you're like, yes, I want things to change, but I'm not willing to do the work, do you really want them to change? So first part is really becoming aware of how do we feel about change? And then do we actually set goals for ourselves to push us through change? So Derek, this is a great time to throw the poll up. I really want to know for those that are here, do you have goals for 2026? Yes, you have goals in the office. And the poll is up there. Yes, I'm thinking about a goal. I don't know what the goal should be. I don't think I have anything to change or goal, or I have tried in the past and it's never worked. I'd love to hear where you guys sit on the topic of change for your practice and setting goals.
And it looks like, Laura, it's a great first question to ask. We're getting some responses. We'll give some people some time to answer here. Just a few more seconds. Give everyone.
And a big shout out to the amount of people who showed up today. This is a really good turnout for this webinar. So
Yeah,
I know I'm hoping the notes, the feedback we get on this poll is positive. Do you
yeah,
guys have
absolutely.
goals?
That's exactly right, Laura.
Yeah.
So it looks like we got a lot of responses. I'm going to end here and share the results with you.
All right. So it looks like, yeah, you guys have goals for sure, or you're thinking of what the goals should be. And the ones that I don't have anything to change or I've set goals in the past, I'm hoping maybe at the end of this webinar that you learn some tips and tricks to help you for goal setting, because goals are a good thing, right? Thank you, Derek, for that. Well,
Absolutely.
let's jump
Absolutely.
in then. All right. So let's talk about why change can be hard. And so, what I want you to do is, as we go through this, think of a goal. Either think of something for yourself, or think of something for your team, right? It could be as easy as right now, if you're like, I just want to eat less candy, right? Or I just want to not gain weight during the holidays, or I just want to, start our huddle on time. I don't know, pick something simple. Now let's talk about why is this hard? Why do we not overcome some of these changes that we have to do to reach this goal? What does our team not potentially want to do this? Well, first of all, change is work. So, like I said, our brain likes to do the same things over and over and over again. So, when we ask our brain, hence the humans, to do something differently, even if it's a simple change, even if it's literally like, hey, listen, when you come in the morning, I need you to be to the huddle on time and smile. That's not hard to do, right? When you greet a patient, you stand up and shake their hand. That's not hard to do. But we have to change habits, right? And so change is work. It's getting somebody to do something differently, which sometimes can mean painful, right? Like if change isn't managed properly, change can cause anxiety, it can cause fear, it can cause uncertainty, it can cause pain. So maybe not on the specific change that you are asking someone to do or trying to do yourself, but maybe in other change, you've tried to change something and it didn't go well. The one person who said, I've tried to change our practice and it didn't happen. Our brain likes to remember the failures more than the things that we did well, right? It also means that a lot of times change means changing job duties, right? I'm used to doing the same thing every day. Now I've got to do something different, and that can be uncomfortable. Whenever we're putting in goals and change, that can put strain on employees, right? Because there's uncertainty, there's anxiety. One of the things that I hear right now a lot is the whole discussion around AI and what is technology going to do in our practice and what does that mean for my job? There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to that, which then makes people feel nervous or worried or concerned. So if we don't plan change well and we don't manage change well, It can go bad. So part of change management, part of setting goals is to proactively plan so that the team feels okay with it, you feel okay with it. We've got a plan in place. They know how they're going to do it because if we don't do it deliberately, it can go bad, which leads us to more failures. And if we've got failures in the past that our brain likes to listen to or to remember, we're going to have that we're going to hold on to when we're trying to look towards the future. And I know that this is the case with most of us. If I were to ask you guys live and in person right now, tell me about your reviews online as example, right? How are your reviews? You could have 4.8 stars on your reviews or 4 stars on your reviews, but you guys all remember that one bad review that somebody left 2 years ago, right? Because our brain holds on to the failures instead of the good things. So, what we want to do is when we start setting goals for 2026, especially the bigger goals, we really need to realize that there's phases to change. You don't just overnight say, "Hey guys, tomorrow we're going to do it this way." What we need to do is realize whatever our goal is for the next year, and I'm going to talk about how to write a good goal. Whatever our goal is, we need to do it in phases because first we've got to kind of look at what we actually have going on. What are our employees? How are they with this topic and change? How are we going to make sure that we have some early wins? What are we going to do when people push back, when patients don't like it, when there's confusion on how we do something? How are we going to keep moving forward? Like this is the deliberate proactive way to look at how to move yourself or your practice from here to there, right? So, what we don't want to do is we don't want to change too many things at once. And I could have asked that in a question, I guess. How many goals do you have? Because if literally you have 10 major things you want to do in 2026 in your practice, that's too many, right? We really need to, pick one or two things that matter and help our team get through these phases before we go on to the next thing. Because not only are there phases, but there's also an emotional response that everybody has when they go through change, right? A good example of this, if you take it out of dental, take it out of your personal life, but let's just look at a kid. You think about when you're checking out at a grocery store and you have, I don't know, a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old, right? And they really want that piece of candy and they ask you, Mom, can I have that piece of candy? And you're like, no, you don't need that piece of candy. And they're like, but please, can I have this piece of candy? And they're like, and then they start to pout and they put their head down and they're like, right? So they're not going to move unless you give them the piece of candy. And you're like, you're not getting that piece of candy. And then they're like, but I want the piece of candy, right? And then they were like, Mom, if you give me the candy, I'll help you, take the trash out tonight. Mom, I really want that. And then they get sad about it. And then they're going to test you. They're going to take the candy and they're going to put it into the shopping cart. And then finally, either you break down and give them the candy, or they're like, fine, I'm going to give up on this. And then they go to the car and they don't even remember that they asked you for the candy, right? Well, this is just an example of like emotional responses that we actually feel when we're going through significant change, also. We like stability. And then a doctor comes back and they want to change something in the practice, or we have a goal for 2026. And it's almost like the team sometimes puts their head in the sand and they think if I ignore it, it'll go away, right? I've actually speak about this a lot, and I had an office manager who talked to me once about they have a 9-day rule in their practice. A 9-day rule is if the doctor goes to a conference and they come back and the doctor's still talking about whatever it is they want to change or implement, after 9 days, the team starts to take it seriously. So they're really just kind of hoping it goes away. Then, when we really start pushing in, like we're going to change this software, or we're going to go paperless, or we're going to integrate AI, or whatever the thing is, you start getting some pushback. Some team members who are like, no, this is the way we've always done it, right? I don't want to change. You might actually have some gossiping going on. Because people are going through their emotional responses to change. And again, it depends on the person, it depends on the topic, it depends on how much the change is. how much of a thing it affects them. It really depends on where they are, but understanding that people are going to go up and down when it comes to change. I remember when we changed softwares, we went from one practice management software to another. And one of my employees, when they were learning the new software, the first day she was like, "This is amazing. I love this software. It's so great," because she was so excited about all the things that it did. And the third day we were in training, I asked her how it was going, and she's like, "This is awful. I hate this software." Because she was going through the emotional responses of change. And, it looked good in the beginning. It's kind of like saying you're going to go to the gym every day. It sounds good, but then when you actually wake up at 6 in the morning to go to the gym and you're like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. You're going through the emotional responses of change, right? And just understanding that that happens personally and then also as a team. So with whatever changes you are have on your list or going to put on your list that you want to do or goals that you want to set for 2026, you're always going to have people who are for it and people who are against it. If you've got more than three people in a group, you probably got somebody for it, somebody against it, and somebody in the middle. So the people who are for the change, the people who are welcoming the change, the people who really want to see this goal happen in your practice, those are your champions. Those are the ones that you want to lean into. You want to have them be the cheerleaders. You want them to lead the training, the meetings, the games, the whatever you're doing to make this change happen. But then you're going to have the blockers. And the blockers are the ones who are crossing their arms saying, "This is the way we've always done it. I'm not changing." The issue is you can have your champions, but if you don't also address the blockers, what's going to happen is one of these two are going to win. And the 80%, 70, 80% in the middle, they're sitting back and waiting to see who's going to win. Because, see, we've tried to implement so many things in the practice. We have had so many goals in the past that never went anywhere, right? That's the list of the things that we can list all of the time we had failure with change. These people in the middle are waiting to see, are we really going to do this? Because if we're really going to do this, I'll jump in and I'll learn the new software or I'll try to do the new whatever we're doing. But if we're not going to do this, I'm not going to waste my time. I have enough things to do already. So recognizing how the change model works and that we've got the champions, but we've also got to address the blockers. And if your blockers are blocking too much, that's a whole nother topic. In fact, Derek said we're going to do at the end of a survey. How do we deal with the blockers is a whole nother subject because that's literally somebody who's stopping the practice from moving to where you want it to go because they're blocking it too much. And that doesn't mean that they need to leave, but they do need to be handled because we don't work for the blocker. We work for the practice for our patients and for our doctors, and we need to be okay to move the practice forward and move the blockers with us, hopefully. So we could talk about that at another one. The next thing then is realizing that goals and change, like I said early on, goals mean change, change means goals. It means also work, right? Like you're here, this is where you are this year, 2025, and whatever you want to do and accomplish in 2026, in between, there's work to be done. And many times it's new. It's changing habits. It's changing the way we think about things. It's learning a new technology. It's learning a new skill. It's bringing on new employees. It's whatever it is. And change doesn't happen overnight. So part of the thing about being deliberate with change is that we can't just say, go do it. We have to figure out what is needed. How do we get there? We need to lean into the fact that it's going to take some work to change. Otherwise, if it was easy, we would have already done it. So, first step is prepare. With any goal you're going to set, with any change that you want to have happen, what you have to think of first is why, right? I have dentists that I talk to a lot when I'm speaking, and they say they want to do something. They want to do XYZ, and I'll say, well, why? And they don't really have an answer, right? Like, oh, it just sounds good. Oh, yeah, it's gonna save some money. It's somebody told me about it. If you don't really have a good why, your team is not gonna buy into it, right? If your own goal that you're trying to prepare, like set for yourself for next year, Why do you want to do the thing, right? Your why is and it's not your mission and vision that we put on the wall. Your why is the thing that gets you up out of bed in the morning. It's the thing that gets you to work the extra hour in the evening on the project. It's the thing that motivates you. Like, why do you care about whatever it is that you're putting out there as a goal? The next step is going, this is where we are now, and this is where we want to go. What is missing or needed in the middle, right? Like, do we need to learn new technology? Do we need to work on our skills? Do we need to hire new employees? Do we need to change the team? Do we need to change our software or our hardware? Do we need to get what is missing? What is needed? Because once you know your why and you know where you want to go, you're probably not there because there's something in the middle that needs to be done, learned, or bought. What is it? And then how are we going to get there? So again, there's a lot of teams that I talk to and they say, well, we want to do change softwares and we want to integrate this new piece of software, this new piece of technology. And I'm like, great, how are you going to do it? We're going to buy it. We're going to get training and we're going to train on it. And we're going to use it. And I'm like, okay, well, how? Well, we're gonna train. Well, how? Like when? How are you gonna do this? You don't have enough time in the day. Are you gonna close the office? Are you gonna have everybody do the training? Are you gonna do it virtual? Are you gonna bring a trainer in? Are you gonna do it all at once? Are you gonna do it over time? Like how? And I like to actually say how, all the way down to like exactly once a week we're going to do this. We're going to train. This is how we're going to do it. This is who's going to be involved so that it's super clear how the change is going to happen. An example for this part for me that I've seen for 20 years is with front office rocks. When offices buy front office rocks to use it for training, many times the dentist just brings front office rocks into the team and says, here's some training I want you to do, go. And the team's like, they don't know why, right? They're already like, I already know how to do my job. Why are you giving me this training website to use? And then how are we going to have time to do it? I barely have time to go to the bathroom. And you want me to sit down and watch videos, right? This is where change never happens in a dental office because we haven't talked about the why. How do we get there and how do we make this happen in the practice? So when looking at your goals for next year, really go through and make sure that your why and your how are super specified, super written. And I'm going to show you in a minute a good way to do it. Next, we've got to go learn, right? We've got to go get either the knowledge, we've got to get the skills, or we've got to get the technology to do these things. So, wherever you are now and whatever your goal is for next year, does your team need to get training? Do we have the skills we need to do these things? Have we had a coach in who can help us work on the soft skills or the interpersonal skills? Do we have the right technology that can do these things? Like we really need to, and maybe you don't even know if you have the technology. You got to go learn what's available, what's out there, right? AI is a good example. Like there's so much AI companies coming into our industry. Maybe you've got to go learn a little bit about AI so that you can know what you're looking for that's going to help you with your team. So you've got to learn about the knowledge, the skills, and the technology. Then we've got to look at change. So we know how, we know why, we know how, we now have filled in, we know what we have to get from here to there. And that's the stuff in the middle. Now we've got to make it a priority. Change doesn't happen if we talk about it once and we walk away. It's got to become part of the daily operations or weekly operations of the practice. We've got to put an emphasis on it. We've got to make sure that we are talking about it in our monthly meetings or our morning huddles. We've got to make sure that there is time set aside to make it a priority because if we don't prioritize it, it doesn't happen. So if you take it out of the work setting and you go to your personal life, let's say you're trying to lose weight for next year. If you just say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to start working out, I'm eat healthy, and you don't figure out how, and you don't get the knowledge that you need to learn how to do these things, and then you don't make it a priority, it's not going to happen. For example, if it's a priority, you're going to make sure you go to the gym every morning before you go to work. You're going to make sure that you food prep on Sundays so you had food for the week so you don't eat junk food. Like it's got to be a priority in your list of things. And yes, you may have to skip sleeping in an extra half hour or going out to dinner on a Tuesday night because you are making it a priority in your life. Same with the dental practice. It's got to be a priority. The other thing is, if it's not fun, don't do it. I believe that the team, the people involved in this change need to have fun at this because we're asking them to do extra work. We're asking them to get out of their comfort zone. We're asking them to change the way they normally do things. And if it's one more thing I have to do, if it's, oh my gosh, now I got to do this extra report or now I got to learn this new software. They're not going to want to do it. So we want to have fun with things, right? We spend more time in the dental office than we do at home. So find ways to make it a game. Set goals. Put a chart up in the break room that we can track how we're doing on a goal. Order pizza for the team if they're going to do a lunch and learn so we can all learn the software together. Like whatever it is, make it fun because if it's not fun, then humans tend to not want to do it, right? And then celebrate successes. Don't roll right over it. And not necessarily that we've reached the end goal, but maybe we're starting to see changes in the right direction. We want to celebrate those successes. I was just actually doing an interview today for the Mango Voice. Mango Voice, we have a YouTube channel, and I'm bringing all these different people on to talk about different things. And I was interviewing Zach Shelley, who is an awesome coach, dental office manager, and he was talking about his morning huddles that they always start their morning huddles with celebrating successes from the day before, like what went well yesterday. And this is a great way to start to celebrate the wins of a change. Like whatever it is you are trying to change in your practice, whatever goal you have. Let's say it is we want to run on schedule more, or we want to increase our production, or we want more new patients, or whatever. Talking about that every day in the morning huddle, first thing to talk about how did we do with this goal yesterday? It's going to start making this, first of all, it starts your huddle on a positive note, but then it's also making it a priority to every day we're talking about the thing, whatever it is your goal is, and how we did with it yesterday. So, really finding ways to not make it like, oh, I have one more thing to do, but instead make it fun so everybody can be involved and excited about it. So, our next poll question: does your leadership team work together on implementing change? So, it takes the leadership to lead all of these things. How do you feel that your team does with this? You have a great leadership team that aligns. It depends on what change we're implementing. You're in transition now and you're looking to build a better leadership team to make these things happen, or you're never on the same on the same page when it comes to change.
An exciting one, huh, Laura? Let's see. We'll give some people some time. We encourage you all the attendees, we encourage you to participate. You should be seeing it on your screens, and I'm seeing some results come in. We'll give people a little bit more time, Laura, and then we'll share the results with you.
Perfect.
And we'll give a little over half. We'll give people a few more seconds. If you haven't answered, please participate. Okay, let's share these results with you, Laura. A little mixed
Awesome.
bag.
All right. So I love the honesty with that. So depending on the change, right, and what we're implementing, I love that, over half of you guys have at least a B or an A, and when it comes to implementing change. And then honestly, with the transition now, that makes a lot of sense because we need to improve in these areas. And it might not even be transition of people, it might be transition of attitudes. So awesome. Thank you for that, guys.
Yep, thank you everyone for participating.
All right. So, why, what are the barriers that I see to goal setting? So, the reason I talked about change first is because I wanted you to recognize that we set goals all the time and we don't achieve them. That happens all the time. So first, why don't we achieve them? Well, a lot of times it has to do with change. Change is hard, okay? But there's also some other barriers that I think that a lot of offices struggle with to aim and achieve. The first is setting it too low, right? Or not setting it or setting it too low. Sorry. So people often avoid setting goals because it forces them to confront what they don't want to confront. So I don't like getting on a scale. I don't know if anybody else, but like it's just, it sets my mood of the day. Like, I don't know, a pound here, a pound there. It's like not my favorite thing to do. But when my clothes start feeling tight, it's time to confront that goal, right? And so then when I'm really like, okay, it's time to pay attention to this, my clothes don't fit, and I'm not going to go buy a whole new wardrobe. Now I'm having to confront the goal. And the goal is I'm going to lose XYZ. I'm going to go to the gym this many times, right? So, one of the things that I think happens is that we set a goal too low or we don't set a goal at all. If I were to go to your team and say, what is your goal for next month? What is your goal for this month? How are you guys doing against your goal? What's your goal for your position? What are you tracking? If your team doesn't have a goal, or if they feel like the goal is it's too low that it doesn't motivate them, then they're not going to do things to change. And so I believe that many times we tend not to set the goal because we're afraid we're going to fail. Especially as dentists, we don't want to put a goal out there, right? Let's say, I'm just going to throw out a number. Let's say our daily production is $10,000 and you set a goal that you want to get to $20,000 a day, right? Well, we're so afraid, and I'm like this. I feel like we're gonna achieve this, we're gonna achieve it. If I don't achieve it, I failed. But if your goal is 10,000 and you don't get to $20,000 a day, but you get to $15,000 a day, did you fail? Like really think about that because you went from 10 to 15, right? You didn't get to 20, but you're up. So realizing that part of it is if we're not setting goals or we're setting them too low because it's just we want to achieve them, then we are not going in the right direction of goal setting. The next is setting the wrong goal. So 80% of goals fail because they're too vague or unrealistic. Only 20% of people set clear goals, and fewer than 30% even achieve them. And most people fail in life because they aim too high and miss, not because they aim too low and hit. So if we are looking at what our goal is for 2026, we've got to be real clear with what that goal is. And is it a goal that we need to achieve? That's where the why comes in. Like, why do we care? Because many times we set a goal on we need more new patients. This is my number one thing. Hopefully, you guys take this into 2026. Our number one thing is we need more new patients, we need more new patients, we need more new patients. And my question to most offices listening is do you need more new patients or do you need to close the back door? Because most dental offices are losing more patients out of the back door than they're getting in the front door. If you're getting enough new patients in the front door, but you feel like you need more new patients, my suggestion is your goal set around new patients or should your goal be set around closing the back door, reactivation, customer service, running your systems? So are you setting the right goal for your practice? And then beyond that then is we don't implement a plan to achieve those goals. So we aren't putting the how are we going to do it, how are we going to do it, how are we going to do it. There's a lot of offices and teams that I talk to where they have a goal and I say, well, how are you going to do that? And they're like, we're going to try. And it's like, no, 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 a goal without a plan is just a wish. We actually need to now break down, like if I'm going to lose, as an example, 10 pounds, I'm not going to lose 10 pounds by just going, that's it. I'm losing 10 pounds and it's going to happen. I need to start planning. Well, how do I eat better? How do I meal plan? How do I go to the gym a couple times a week? Right? What are the things that I can control to build new habits that cause me to put on the weight in the first place or to change that so that I flip my habits around, right? So, how smart are your goals? And I've been teaching goal setting for a very long time. I have my master's degree in organizational development, which is change management. And there was always a thing called SMART goals, but now it's smarter goals. And I'm going to teach you guys smarter goals and how to take your goal for 2026 and put it against, like, measure it against a smarter goal, and then even how to use AI technology to help you make sure that your goals for this year are spot on. And that is really why I'm excited about this because like I said, I've been talking about this for years, but now we have technology that's going to help us get even more honed in on our goals. That being said, we're still humans, so we will still find ways to not get up and go to the gym early in the morning. We will still find ways to not be motivated, and that's a human side of it. But we've got the technology now that can help us to clearly set the plan for us to make achieve these goals. Okay, so smarter goals. Whatever your goal is, so and you can go back, this will be recorded, you can write this down and go test your goal against it. Whatever your thing is that you're thinking about, the questions that you need to measure it by is it specific? Do you know specifically what it is you want to do? So just taking my analogy of losing weight. I want to lose weight. Is losing weight specific? I mean, if I lose a pound, I've reached the goal, right? Cool, I'm done. So we've got to get specific, like how much weight do I want to lose, right? How many new patients do you want, or how much do you want to reactivate patients coming in back to your practice? What specifically is your goal? There's a lot of times when I do this live with offices, they say we want to do better. Better is not specific. We want to improve our culture. Improve is not specific because the next step is measure. How can we measure it? It's got to be measurable. The number of new patients, the number of reactivated patients, the what it's got to be measurable. So when we get specific, how do we measure it? Because just doing better can't be measured. Is it attainable? So like I said, a lot of times we set goals too low. Sometimes we set goals too high. So, for example, if you say, we're getting 50 new patients a month right now, we want 100 new patients next month. Is that attainable, right? Probably not. Doubling your new patients in 1 month is not attainable. And will your team be motivated by it? If your team feels like this goal is not accessible and not reachable, they're not going to be motivated by it. We want it to be motivational, right? Is it relevant? Like I said, doubling your new patients this in 1 month when we have a backdoor problem, is this the goal we should be going after, doubling our new patients, or should we be handling reactivation calls, recare calls, running our systems better, right? So, is this a relevant goal that we should be focused on right now? Is it timely? Does this make sense for our team? One or a couple of you mentioned you're building maybe a new team. Maybe there's some things that, for example, you want to change practice management software. Well, maybe this isn't the year to do it, or this month isn't the time to do it because you have a transition on your team, right? You're hiring new employees. I hear a lot of offices talk about things doing at the end of the year, like they have a big goal for December. December is a hard month to do anything change wise because we're basically buried with the patients trying to come in with insurance. We have a lot of people taking vacation. Everybody's in Christmas cookie mode. It's not the best time to try to do that goal, right? So is it timely? Can we evaluate it? So that's the measurable part. Like if we can measure it, can we evaluate it to see how we've done or how we are doing? Again, if you're at 10,000 and you want to get to 20,000 and you're did 12 and then you did 13 and then you did 15 and then you did 16, we can evaluate, are we trending in the right direction? And then how are we going to reward or recognize us when we do that? There's a thing in everybody's mind that's called what's in it for me. So it's great if the dentist or the office manager wants to achieve something and the team's like rah, 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 but in the back of their mind, they're saying, what's in it for me? And so we want to make sure that we're looking at the reward or the recognition for the increments along the way to make the goal happen. So my suggestion is you take this and you go with each thing, and it even if it means you have to talk it out with somebody on your team. I'm going to show you in a minute how to do this with AI to have this conversation, because sometimes we don't realize that our goals aren't specific enough. We don't realize that we have no way to measure better. So, how do we measure better, right? How do we measure I'm going to improve? Give me a way to evaluate it so that I know that it's getting better. I can't technically measure that my body is going to lose weight. If I eat this and I go to the gym, I'm going to lose a pound. But I can measure that I go to the gym 5 times a week or 3 times a week. I can measure that I keep my calories under a certain amount, right? So we really want to challenge ourselves to make sure that our goal is one that we can really hold ourselves to or our team to. So, what I would suggest is going through. So, here's one example, right? Like, I want to double the new patients next month. Is that specific? Sure. Can you measure it? Sure. Is it attainable? Doubling? I mean, if you go from 2 to 4, maybe. Is it relevant? Do you really need to double your new patients next month? Is this timely? Does it make sense to do this right now? Especially going into like December, doubling new patients. Does that make sense when we've got patients with existing insurance? Like, who knows for your practice, but really take it against this and see. I want to reactivate 10 new patients next month. Is that doable? Absolutely. Is it specific? Sure. Can we measure it? Yes. Is it timely? Yes. If you've got a backdoor problem, can we evaluate it? Absolutely. What's the reward? It's not there. So what's the team get? If we reactivate 10, actually, it says reactivate 10 new patients. What I mean is reactivate 10 patients. Take the new out. If we reactivate 10 patients next month, the team all gets coffee on the doctor, Starbucks coffee, or we all get a $5 gift card or whatever. But the team is going to want to know what's in it for me. I want to bring in AI software for radiographs by June of 2026. Is that specific? Yes. Is that measurable? Yes. Is it attainable? Yes. Is it relevant? Possibly, if it's for your practice. Is it timely? Sure. Can we evaluate it? Yes. Reward, what does the team get for it? Do you see, like, as you go through this, or what do you get for it for that matter? So as you go through this, you can kind of check yourself to make sure that your goal is right for 2026 or whatever shorter, longer term period of time. So I want you to think of your goal, think of a goal for 2026. And then the questions are, is it fully a smarter goal? 100% through the things I've talked about. Does it have elements of a smarter goal, but it needs a little bit more direction now? I didn't even realize that this was a thing, and I'm going to go back to rework it. Or I think I'm going to have to learn more about how to do this and then try it for the first time. So this is brand new for you, and you want to go test it out and then try to put it against a smarter goal. So tell me how you guys are feeling about it.
Our final polling question. Thank you, Laura. We'll let people give people a minute or so, a little bit of time for this final opportunity to participate. Again, if you have any questions, time permitting, for Laura, we will ask them at the end. Even if we don't get to your question, we'll follow up with you after. So please, if you have a question, go ahead. And looks like we're getting some results in, Laura, so I'm going to share with
Please.
you.
All right, there we go. I love this. Oh, good. So it's kind of spread across the group here. Well, I hope that with this, now you can see where maybe your goal could do a little bit more. How, why, do we have the real reason why we need to do it? How are we going to do it? And then can we evaluate it against a smarter goal? So I love that. All right, so here's a few more final little tips at the end. So choose a goal that you'll bring to your next team meeting. Make sure that we're assigning the ownership. Who's going to lead it? When will it need to be done by? When are we going to start? Are we going to talk about it? Are we going to talk about it at the team meetings? Schedule your check-ins, share your goals with the team, with each other. Even if you have a personal goal, you're going to be held much more accountable if somebody else knows what your goal is. So just a couple more tricks about that. Why? What's the purpose of the goal? What does success look like? Our brains make decisions on emotions, right? So when you actually think like, if we do this, what will this look like? Your brain can start to feel like, oh, if we actually do this extra little bit, I'm going to enjoy wearing my clothes again. We're going to enjoy the practice that's achieving the goals. What does success look like? I think that's super important. Who's going to be responsible? How are we going to accomplish it? And when will we know when we achieved it, which is the evaluation of it. Implementing action plans. So writing checklists, organizing this into timelines. Like there's so many systems that you can use now. Really, when you set the goal well, now it's just a matter of getting in there and organizing the steps along the way. So you can use, and this is where I'm going to jump into technology now. You could use old school spreadsheets. You can use a dry erase board on your wall. You can use tools like Google Sheets. You can empower your team. You don't have to figure it out. Maybe somebody on your team is the organization person and they could say, I'll build a board on the wall and we can track it or whatever. Like how you do it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you're reviewing it regularly to keep it a priority in the practice. So, a couple things. I actually have a group on Facebook called Brush Up on AI. I'm all about AI helping us with this and so many things in our lives and our practices. And I have a book with the same name, Brush Up on AI, which you can get on Amazon. And within Brush Up on AI, what I do is I talk about how to implement change in the practice. Because if you don't have your practice running well, when you put AI into it, it's just going to emphasize how bad your practice is not running. So this is a great time for you to start to embrace the idea of how to use AI to help you in these areas like goal setting, dealing with team, your systems, all of the things. And so I teach things like my clear prompt framework of how to prompt AI to give you the responses that you need. And there's on ChatGPT, within ChatGPT, I have a custom GPT that actually you can go to and ask questions. So I talk about all this in the group. You can see it in Facebook. So I'm not leaving you high and dry here to figure this out on your own. I've got this training, the AI to help you, and really prompts for you to take to AI to help you do this better. So, you can take a prompt like this and at the end you can scan this QR code and I'll give you this PowerPoint so you have it. So you don't have to write all this down. But here are some prompts like turn this goal, whatever your goal is, into a smarter goal. And then, give me a goal setting detail plan of timelines. Help me to create a smarter career goal. Like there's ways that you can go to AI now and have it help you design this so that you have a weekly progress check-in. You can summarize your progress. You can create a dashboard this way. You can create accountability for your team. You can make short little motivational, fun, things that you can post to your team or talk about in your morning huddle. This is where what used to take us hours to do things, we now can lean on technology to help us do better for 2026. So within ChatGPT, if you want to find my custom GPT, you just go explore GPTs and you can type in my name or brush up on AI. And that is where you can go to follow the how to implement AI in your practice. You can also go to custom GPTs and search the word goals. And these are more GPTs specifically around goal setting. So if you want some more guidance around how to set a goal, instead of just going to the general AI GPT, ChatGPT, you can go to one specifically written by goal setting experts and set your goals over there. So the idea is going into 2026, we have more resources than ever before. So you always want to make sure you start with why. You want to be clear on what your goal is. Then you want to build your habits, use the technology. We've got AI here to help us now. And then remember, progress isn't perfection. If you're here and you want to get here, you may not get there in the timeline that you want or the way you want, but you're moving in the right direction. And that's ultimately why we set goals. Because the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building new. Change doesn't have to be overwhelming, it's just a direction. Every clear goal, every small win builds a stronger practice and a stronger team. So, as long as we're moving in the right direction, you're achieving something, you're getting better, you are growing with your practice. So, if you scan this QR code, you get access to the whole PowerPoint. The secret to change is to focus all your energy on building that new habit. So I hope that this motivated you to get you and your team going in the right direction. And it gives us 5 minutes or so to still answer questions. So I appreciate everybody joining us here today. Derek, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, what a wonderful, thought-provoking conversation, Laura. I think all of us are taking away with hoping to think about setting goals, and making that kind of something that's really important to us on an everyday basis. We do have a few questions. Yeah, I think we should get to those because I think there's a couple of good ones here that you can elaborate on. Um, you mentioned not trying to change too much at once. For a busy dental office that's just juggling so much, what's the best way to decide which goal to start with first?
Yeah, for sure. So, what I would do, this is a great time of the year because we're not quite at the end of the year. We're not quite like in the busy season. I would almost sit down with the team and talk to the team about it and say, what changes do we need to look at for next year? Why do we need them? Let's have a conversation around it. Sometimes you can have smaller changes happen and plan for the bigger change so you can be moving in the right direction, but it's really about team buy-in, and it's also about the biggest investment that's going to make a biggest, not cost investment, but ROI on your time, to make that change. So having a conversation with your team, they're the ones who are going to support you in this, and getting everybody, when they feel like they're part of the decision, they're going to be a little bit more motivated to do the extra work around the change.
Yeah, it's well said, well said. I think we have time for one more before I, kind of give a little bit of a conclusion here to our attendees. You talked about how change can cause anxiety or resistance on the team, right? What are a few things a leader can do right away, to get their team more comfortable with change?
Transparency is key. People follow, you can't force change, or you can try to force change. It's not going to go well, right? You being open to the fact that, change is hard and it's even hard for you. And we're going to work on this as a team. And being a leader that people want to follow is the first step. I would also sit down and say, implement and give the change to the team as a whole, but also individually, if it's important enough, sit down with each person and assess where they are in this. Where's their comfort level? Where are they concerned? Where are they? Because if they feel heard, they're more likely to open up to you on where you can support them. And that's ultimately we want. That's where the blockers sit on that chart of like, we want to handhold these blockers to try to move them towards where we want the change to go. And if they feel like they're just one big group and they're not getting heard, it might be a little harder. So be transparent and get in communication with everybody on your team.
Laura, thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us. This was absolutely wonderful. We really thank you. Attendees, I hope you had a really nice time listening to Laura. Most important from me is when you leave, you're going to get a survey. We'd love to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We want to know what topics are at the forefront. Laura, I'm sure, would like to know what
Yeah.
topics are on your mind that we can continue to, talk about and lead in discussion, especially going into 2026. As far regarding the CE credit, like I said, about 2 to 3 weeks, you'll receive an email around that. And Laura did include a QR code here on the screen for her slides, but you'll be receiving a follow-up communication from our team as well. On behalf of Laura, myself, and the entire Rectangle Health team, we want to thank you for joining us today. We look forward to having you guys again soon, and we hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you.
Guys, bye.
Bye.